Hello everybody, my name is Khalid Siddiqui, and in this video I'm going to teach you guys how to use and take full advantage of Garmin StreetPilot C550. Now C550 is almost the same as C510, C520, C530 and C580. So all these C5xx series GPS units are similar, with minor differences such as C550 is being capable of Bluetooth, and the previous versions, lower numbers, don't have Bluetooth capability. And now I'm going to teach you guys step by step how to take full advantage of this unit. It's a very nice GPS unit. I have it here. It's basically a workhorse. It's designed to last. As you can see, this is about 5-6 years old and still working like a charm without any issues or any problems. So let's see how to use this unit. The first thing we need to do is we need to know how to plug the power cord. The power cord goes in the back, and there is a little arrow on this edge which needs to be on top, or actually if the GPS is this way, it's going to be on the bottom. But when you have the GPS upside down, this arrow will be up, and you press it in. To remove the power cord, you have to squeeze the two buttons on the sides to these are the latches that will unlatch, or the hooks that will unhook and allow the cable to come off. Normally, if you don't press this, the cable will never come out. So you have to push these in, and that's how it releases. Okay. The back of the GPS unit has audio output. Now this is a very good feature to have audio output. Very few GPS units are equipped with audio output, and this one is microphone in. So you could have speaker and mic, and you could talk to the GPS for Bluetooth capability. For example, if you hook up your phone, you could have a microphone clipped onto your collar and have clear sound quality. And same thing with audio out. You could have the MP3 player play songs, or feed the audio to your auxiliary input in your vehicle to have a very loud and clear audio. Okay, the mounting mechanism on this GPS is genius. It's the best I've seen so far, because there's one ball head in the center which allows the most amount of maneuverability on the GPS's front face. So let me show you. For example, when you plug this in, I have the following maneuverability possibilities: up, down, right, left, rotation this way, rotation that way, and with combination of the rotations any direction. So the mounting mechanism on all Garmins that are ball head mounting mechanism is a very good design and a very good idea to get the most out of your GPS unit. Okay, so now let's go and explain the buttons and plugs on the sides. This is the power button. This is actually the button that turns the unit on and off. This is the PC sync port, which you don't have any business with unless you want to hook up the unit to your computer. This is the volume, and this is where the memory card goes in, or the SD card. And basically that's the external antenna if you wanted to have an external antenna. And basically those are all the buttons and other things you need to know. Okay, so before we move on to learning different features and functions of this GPS unit, what we need to do is we need to basically learn how to customize the unit based on our specific need. And this is how you customize it. You go to settings, you go to map, and you need to know if you want the maps to be displayed most or minimal. I like most. You could choose more, normal, less, or least. If you choose most, you see more information on the map. For example, you see small roads, streets, and alleys where it will be hidden if you choose normal view. Some people prefer a normal view because you don't see as much clutter on the screen. However, I like to have it set at most, because if you're traveling on a freeway and at a high speed and you want to see if there's local parks or gas stations and whatnot in the streets that lead to them, you can see them very clearly if you choose most. I like most, but you could always choose lesser. The lesser information will be easier to see the screen and not get confused, but you're actually missing a part of the picture because you're not seeing everything that's in there. So that's why I like to have most. Just a second, let me increase the brightness so we don't have the flickering. Okay, so I took care of the flickering. Alright, so yeah, so that's why I like to have most. Now the map view, I like the three-dimensional map. You could choose track up, north up, or three-dimensional. The difference is, if you choose three-dimensional, this is how the map will view. Like kind of the map plane will be like a little tilted, and you'll be going forward. Wherever you're going will show on top. North up will always show the north of the map on top. This will be confusing because if you're going south, your vehicle will be moving down on the screen this way, and if you're making a right turn, the vehicle will go left because you're facing south, and the right turn from that direction will be this side. So it will create confusion. I don't recommend north up. Track up is easy. It will be two-dimensional map, not three-dimensional. The map will be very flat, and the track up will basically show wherever you're headed on top of the screen. So even if you're going south, the south will be shown on top, and the north will be at the bottom of the screen. So the best one is 3D, which is the easiest, I believe, but you could always change that setting. Okay. Vehicle. You can change the vehicle, and there are different vehicles you can download from Garmin.com. Currently this little car is blue car is chosen. You can choose a truck, you can choose a triangle, you can choose a little hatchback vehicle, or whatever you like. So more vehicles are available for download, but they only come with 2 or 3 different vehicles to basically to start. And you could use Garmin Map Web Update software to get free vehicles. Alright, so now map info. This is important to know. Why map info is important. If a GPS, if it has multiple maps of different countries, you don't want to enable all of them because it will slow down your GPS. So you go to map info and just uncheck the ones that you don't need, like this. So let's say I only need North America. That's the only one I will check, and I will uncheck the Australia and New Zealand and anything else that's unrelated to my trip. Now you have to keep all the maps checked if your trip is going to cover 2 different map regions. Let me emphasize on that a little more. If you have the map of UK and Ireland, and also the map of France separately in your GPS, and you're planning a route to drive from London to Paris, you have to keep both maps checked. Otherwise the GPS will not see the section that you're going to, and it cannot calculate your route if you're limited to the map of single country or single region or single continent. So basically, if the maps are divided in multiple continents, if you have European map and let's say Middle Eastern map, and you're planning on traveling from Europe to Middle East, so you have to have both maps checked. Otherwise the GPS cannot calculate your route. Okay, so now let's see, go back to system. What is in system and what we need to change? System is GPS mode is normal, so that should be normal. You could go to WASS or EGNOS for European Union satellites, but the GPS normal is the best to navigate. Even if you're in Europe, this is the best. GPS off is only if you're indoors, but I don't recommend that because the unit usually turns the GPS off automatically when you're indoors, so don't worry about that. Leave it at normal settings. Safe mode off and on. Safe mode on, the GPS will not allow you to enter address information if the vehicle is in motion for safety purposes. But if you turn that off, you can enter address information even if you're traveling 60 miles an hour on a freeway. So it's dangerous. That's why it's called safe mode. If you are a newbie or a beginner driver, I recommend to leave the safe mode on. The reason I leave my safe mode off is because everywhere we travel, I'm not the one who punches in the addresses on the unit. My wife does it, or my passenger who was sitting next to me. That's why I don't have to be distracted from the road to enter an address. Either my daughter, my son, whoever is traveling with me will be entering the address. For that reason, I have the safe mode off. Same thing, if you have a companion traveling with you, they can enter the address. So you can leave the safe mode off, and the GPS will function even when the vehicle is in motion. If the safe mode is on, even they cannot enter the address because for safety reasons it tells you to pull over the vehicle to a complete stop before you can enter the address. Garmin lock is a very tricky thing. Be careful how you use it. I don't recommend using it unless you're in an extremely unsafe neighborhood where the GPSs are being stolen right and left. Then turn that on, because if you forget the password and the location where you set it, the GPS is no better than a doorstop. If you turn it on, you have to have full satellite signal, and you punch in a 4-digit pin, let's say 2235 for example. So if you forget this pin 2235, the GPS will also unlock when you come back to the location where you first set up the pin. But what if you are not in that location, or if it's not available for you? Let's say you set up the pin when you were traveling in Europe and you forgot the pin. You cannot travel back to Europe in the same exact spot. That's even if you remember where it was to have your GPS unlocked. And once it's locked forever. There is no fix for it. You have to buy a new GPS. That's why I always keep the Garmin lock open and off. I never turn it on. Okay, now we go back. Okay, locally is basically all the settings related to the region. For example, you can change the language, which is US English. You can change the voice to American English Jack, American English, Australian English, British English, French, Spanish. Different languages can be chosen here. You could see all the different languages. You could choose those languages and go from there. Now each GPS may have different set of languages. Not all GPSs are equal, because the user of each GPS, they have the option to add more languages or not. But by default, they only come with certain number of languages, and usually 5 or 6 languages. But you could add more. The time, you have to choose the time format, if you want it AM or PM, or if you want it military style, where after 12 noon it becomes 13, 14, and etc. Kilometer, the unit of measurement, kilometer or American miles. So you have to choose this. With this GPS, I will be traveling to Europe. That's why I have it set up to kilometers. But if you're using it locally in the United States, then you want to choose miles, because kilometers will not be working for you here in the US. But everywhere else in the world, including our neighbors such as Mexico and Canada, they are using kilometers or metric measuring system. So if you travel there, you have to change it to kilometer. Alright, so now let's go to display. The display settings is very important, because if you choose daytime, the unit will be very bright for night driving. It will be so bright that it will create confusion and distortion for your driving, and it will make your driving unsafe with a bright screen coming shining on your eyes from your dashboard or windshield. So it's good to go to night colors. This is the nighttime colors. Everything goes dark and the writings go white. So currently I'm going to leave it on daytime. It's because of this video that I'm showing you guys. So I want the screen to be nice and bright. And also you can leave it on automatic. If you leave it on automatic, the unit will automatically go to nighttime view when the sky gets dark. And the unit will detect the darkness from the time of the region where you're driving. For example, see right now it says trouble finding satellites, are you indoors? So I'm going to say no because I want it to search. If I say yes, it will not search anymore. It will turn off the GPS. Anyways, talking about the night and daytime. So you have to leave that on automatic. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to leave it on daytime for now, but you have to leave it on automatic. All right. Okay. Splash screen is what comes up when you turn on the GPS. You can change it to a custom picture. You can put a picture of yourself or your children or a scenery or the city, anything. Okay, screenshot. If you enable screenshot, you can take pictures of the screen. For example, if you go to a neighborhood and you want to remember the map layout, you can take picture of that map screen. That is called screenshot. It's currently disabled, but you could enable it. Okay, navigation settings. Navigation setting, this is the most important thing you need to pay attention to. What settings you want for your navigation. So please pay attention. You could choose faster time and shorter distance. What are the differences? If you choose faster time, when you are trying to navigate from point A to point B, it will take you to the fastest time regardless of the distance. The fastest time could mean a longer distance because the freeways are further away than local streets, and the freeways are usually taking a longer route but higher speed route than using local streets. So that's why it will take longer, but it will get you there faster. Shorter distance will take you to the local streets and will avoid freeways unless the freeway is the shortest distance. And doing that will subject you to multiple traffic lights, which could take not just traffic lights and stop signs and speed limits. All of those things could cost you dearly time-wise when it hasn't cost you anything distance-wise. Now, when would this come in handy? This would come in handy if you're renting a truck or a vehicle and you're paying by miles. So if that rental vehicle is charging you by miles, then you'd obviously want to go with shorter distance. But if you're not paying by miles, then always choose faster time. Okay. Now the vehicle type is important. Currently we have chosen car or motorcycle, but if you change it to truck, then it will avoid certain areas that like trucks or vehicles. It will avoid certain areas where trucks are not allowed. Same thing with bus and taxis. So basically this is like avoidance of the areas where certain vehicles are not allowed. Like big trucks are not allowed when you have dead ends, for example. So this will avoid dead ends. Same thing with buses, because a truck cannot make a U-turn when it reaches a dead end. So these are the things you need to pay attention to. Emergency vehicle, same thing with bus, whatever you have. So usually this is the one you're going to choose unless you have a truck. Now when we say truck, we're not talking about a small pickup truck. When we say truck, we're talking about 18-wheelers, RVs, and such as huge rental trucks that like U-Haul, huge U-Haul 24-foot rental trucks. Those are the kinds of trucks they're talking about. All right. Okay, so avoidance is also very important. Avoidance is what you want to avoid. Now, if you're on a truck, you want to avoid U-turns. If you're driving a bus, you want to avoid U-turns. If you're driving a big motorhome, avoid U-turns. So whichever avoidance you choose, that is the avoidance the GPS will obey. Basically, that's where the GPS will not take you to. So these are the things you want to be careful what you choose. Because if you choose avoid highway, the GPS will never calculate your route through highways. It will take you through local roads, local streets. Now, why would you avoid highways? You would have to avoid highways if you're riding a bicycle. A bicycle is not allowed to go on a highway, so you have to avoid highways. If you're traveling alone and you don't have a companion, you cannot be using a toll road because No, I'm sorry. You could use a toll road. Carpool lanes is what you can use. Okay, that's carpool lane. That's this one. Okay, let's go to toll road. So if you don't have cash or credit card, you wanna avoid toll roads. If you want to get there faster, avoid traffic. But avoiding traffic is not going to work unless you have a designated traffic receiver, which is sold separately. So normally these units don't come with traffic receivers. It's a separate cable that attaches in the back to give you traffic data. And if you do have that special cable, then you could avoid traffic and it makes a difference. Now if I click avoid traffic, it's not going to make a difference because the unit does not receive traffic information data. Okay, avoiding ferries. These are the little ships or little boats that carries cars from one edge of the river to another edge of the river or lake. Now, usually they cannot take big cars. They can only take small sedans and mini SUVs and whatnot. So if you have a huge vehicle such as an RV or a truck or something, which is obviously not going to be allowed in a ferry, you want to avoid that. Okay. Carpool lanes, this is what I meant earlier. If you're traveling alone, you have to avoid carpool lanes because you will get a ticket if you're not with a companion or a second passenger. So that's where you avoid carpool lanes. And you avoid unpaved roads only if your vehicle cannot go to unpaved roads, or if you don't want to go to unpaved roads, period. Even if your vehicle can go and you just want to avoid unpaved roads. For example, if you have a vehicle that is a lowrider or a vehicle that's not an SUV and it could get stuck in mud or something, you want to avoid unpaved roads. Okay. Attention tone, always leave it on. It gives you a tone when something happens. So that's good. Bluetooth, if you want to add a Bluetooth, so currently it's enabled. You can add a connection, connect your phone. That's how Bluetooth works. If you do connect your phone, then you will be able to make calls and receive calls on this GPS screen without taking your phone out of your pocket. Okay, volume control. This is the volume control for the navigation. This is the volume control for the MP3 songs and stuff, or audiobooks, whatever you want to load. So you want to make sure to keep the navigation louder than that, so that if you're listening to a song, when the GPS is giving you navigation instructions, it can override and be much louder than the music sound. Okay. All right. This is the most important thing to know, because this is proximity points. These are important points that you need to know when you're approaching those points. Let's see currently what this has. Currently it has Garmin safety cameras. Now, Garmin safety camera feature is very good to have, and it's an expensive unit because for each country I believe it's $25. Let's see. Let's go to Garmin website here in my computer and see. Now, let me tell you what this does. This is very important to know. I'm gonna spend a little time explaining the red light and safety speed camera alert. If you are traveling in your car and you're about to approach an intersection where they have those hidden cameras that will take your picture, if you're crossing that area at higher speed than designated posted speed limit, the camera will go off and take your picture. Or if you're about to go through a red light and sometimes an orange light that turns red when you're in the middle of the intersection, it will take your picture. So it's very good to be informed and not to make those mistakes. Now, having the red light camera alert, you would think it should be illegal because that's how the cities generate their revenue. But believe it or not, it's not illegal. It's legal to have alerts when you're approaching a red light in the United States, Canada, in most European countries, except in France. It's illegal. You cannot have red light camera alert in France. They don't even sell it. They don't sell the file unless you get it from dark websites. It's not legal to own it. Now, having that alert is very good if it saves you from one ticket. It saves you from like $150 to $200, in some cases even more. So it's always good to obey the law and drive based on the speed limit, but at the same time, it's good to be aware where you are subject to a camera, so you could be extra cautious. All right. Okay. So that's good to check that, and let's go back. Okay, so now this is the main screen. In the main screen, we have three icons at the bottom. This will change your brightness. Simple, I just changed it earlier and made it to 100% bright. And this setting right here is what we went through and already did all those settings. This is where you could play songs. For example, MP3 songs. And you can browse the songs, change the song, like there are different songs by album, by artist, by all the rest. So this is something that you can see it in your own leisure. Okay, so here's how we navigate. To see where you're located, you go view map, and it shows you exactly where in the United States you are. So this is going to show you only when you're outside under the clear sky, because I'm not in Kansas as this is showing. I'm in California. So that's based on if I go outside, only then it will detect my location. Okay, where to? If you want to enter an address, you click on address and you punch in the city or spell the country. So let's say I'm going somewhere in the United Kingdom, you have to be in the United Kingdom to put that address. So United States, US Virgin Island. Okay, I guess it's England. You have to go with England there. ENGLAND. So there you go. If you want to go somewhere in the UK, you have to be there though. Again, if I'm going somewhere in Australia, there. Okay, so now, currently it's set to Canada. Let's change it to United States. United States. Okay, so spell state. Let's say I'm going to Arizona. Oh, you have to spell it correctly. Arizona. There you go. And you choose the state, and then you spell city, spell postal code and whatnot. So that's pretty simple. You just follow the directions. If you want to go home, click go home. Currently, the home location is not set on this thing, but you can set it. If you want to go to a hotel or a restaurant or other points of interest, no problem. You can do that. Here, you could go to food places, you could go to the banks, and everywhere. The points of interest is endless. As many as you want. Okay? Recently found. Well, currently, this was factory reset, so there isn't recent data. But this will take you to where you have been before. Favorites is currently only Garmin USA, Garmin Europe, Garmin Asia. I'm going to delete this one because delete Garmin Asia because this doesn't even have your Asian maps. And extras. Let's see what's extras. You could purchase extra points of interest. And intersection is very important. If somebody don't know their address exactly, you could ask them to give you the crossing street near them. Or if you're in a country where the addressing system is not very accurate, like in Central America, certain places, they don't have very accurate addressing. Then you can say, spell the first street and then the second street of the intersection. So if there are two streets like crossing each other, you put the name of this one and you put the name of this one, and then it will take you to that intersection. That's very important to know. Cities, you could choose a city where you want to go to. So there are tons of cities you could choose from. you have to be in the right state. You have to be in that state near you. The cities near you will show. For example, if I go right now, it will show the cities that are in Kansas, because the GPS thinks I'm in Kansas. But if I'm, like, let's say if I'm in Arizona or in California or somewhere else, then I go to city, all the cities in those states will appear. Okay. Browse map, it shows you where you are, and you could choose from there where you want to go. So this is Garmin USA, where Garmin is. All right. So let's see. Okay. So that's that, and let's go back. Let's see this. Where to? Near. Okay. So that's if you want to change your current location. So if you are looking at the map, you want to zoom in and out, you could go like this. Zoom in, and you could zoom out. This is your speed information. It tells you how much your speed is and overall distance traveled. So basically it's your trip information. You can trip log. You can reset the trip log, reset the maximum speed. If you want to give this to your child and you want to see if your child went over the speed limit, you could always come and see the maximum speed of that child that traveled. And then you can yell at your child and say, you know what, why did you go 80 miles an hour? And the GPS is a solid proof. They cannot lie. Of course, they could lie if they reset it themselves, so make sure they don't watch this video. Alright, so driving information is here, which is not available right now because we are not driving, we are motionless. And this is back to the original screen. Oops. Okay, so these were the basics of Garmin StreetPilot C550, which is similar to all the other Garmin StreetPilot C5 series. I hope this video was educational and you learned something. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.